Success is a mountain, okay? And what that means is whenever you think of any type of mountain climber that's trying to climb Mount Everest, or they're trying to climb the Himalayas, or trying to climb any mountain that's going to give them any significance in their life or any influence to be able to speak on stages around the world, that mountain climber was prepared for every step of that mountain. He didn't just think, I'm going to start today, I'm going to end up at the top tomorrow. He knows there are obstacles along the way. He's prepared. He has a 150-pound sack on his back with tools to help him climb up that mountain. He knows that there will be crevasses he'll have to climb. He knows about all of the crazy extreme weather conditions that he's going to undergo on the way to the top of the mountain, but all he wants is success. There's no one in life that ever should expect success but be thinking that they're going to avoid all the challenges and obstacles along the way. Like, success is a mountain. Expect success, but also expect the challenges and adversities that are on the way to the top of the mountain.
Before we get started today, I would be remiss if I did not thank our partners over at Proper Creative. Proper Creative is a production-on-demand company, and they monetize e-commerce platforms. They have a marketing powerhouse team from graphic designers, web development, photographers, videographers, market analysis, digital marketing strategists, and of course, social media experts. They help companies from development of content and products to the execution of digital strategies for e-commerce. They provide both full service and a la carte services for businesses that sell direct to the consumers. For me today, I am wearing a Proper Creative branded shirt. This is the Level Up Podcast shirt. You can get it. And this is something that we send to all of our guests that come on our show. Our partners send them a gift package, and it's brought to you by Proper Creative. Thank you so much. You can follow them on social media, Instagram primarily, at PROPR Creative. Again, they're an LA-based company, so they do things a little bit cooler than most. They spell proper, PROPR Creative. Follow them on social media, Instagram, and give a shout out. Thank you so much, again, to our brand partners, Proper Creative. Welcome to another week of Level Up. I am Matt Rogers, and so happy that you subscribed, that you liked. I'd ask that you please give us a rating, whether it's good or bad. Hopefully it's good, but please give us a rating and leave a comment, because all of that stuff helps build the algorithm and continue to help us grow. We are currently trending as one of the fastest growing podcasts in 2021, so I cannot thank you enough for just clicking, listening, subscribing, because all that stuff is huge, and that's what we want to do. I always say the best part of Level Up is our guests, and today is nothing short of that. We are bringing you a man who is the top 10 network marketers in the world. He's a top income earner. There's actually an article just came out on him that said that Calvin Becerra knows what it takes to take a company into 8 and 9-figure earnings. Most of us concentrate on if we could just get 7 figures, Eli, but Calvin operates in the 8 and 9-figure arena. Also, Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine are saying that he is one of the top 7 most influential people that you need to follow in 2021, and they actually ranked him number 3. So Forbes magazine and Entrepreneur said, you need to follow this guy in 2021 because he is we've done the research, he's one of the top best people that will inspire you and influence you. The thing I like most about Calvin, I've known him a little bit over a decade now, he loves his family. He's a good man. He's a fantastic husband to his beautiful wife, Shannon, and he's got 4 unbelievable kids, Tegan, London, Caden, and Presley, and most of all, my friend. Calvin Becerra's in the house. How are you, brother?
What's up, Matt? Dude, it's an honor and a privilege just to be on your podcast. I swear, when you invited me on the podcast, I thought you were joking because you told me about some of the names that will be on some of your future podcasts. And I'm like, how am I even in that lineup? So, when you're inviting me on this podcast, this morning to speak, when you're like, hey, you got all the information, you ready? I thought you were messing with me, So, but I'm excited to be on here. Thank you. And thanks for the edification, bro. I appreciate you.
Hey, can you see this list right here? You're up there. So this was my wish list that I made when we launched Level Up. I said, Eli's like, well, create a list. By the way, I didn't give you your proper intro. Eli Adelman,
I'm here.
Co-producer, engineer. He's in the house.
Always.
I'm getting better. I still make mistakes, Eli.
I mean, it's not level up with Matt and Eli. It's Matt Rogers.
But I gotta give you your props.
I'll just make it happen.
If I ever mess it up, you start just yelling at me.
I will.
In the middle of my spiel. Eli Adelman's in the house. He makes it, but he told me, he goes, hey, make a wish list of all the guests that you want on the show. And bro, you're one of the first names that I wrote down. We're gonna talk about everything. Obviously your story is unbelievable. You got to hear Calvin's story. We're going to uncover that right now. But you are what I would say, you're ahead of the curve in terms of cryptocurrency, which if you don't know anything about crypto, you need to, because it's the future. And whether you like it or not, it is a currency and you do need to know about it. Calvin knows about it. We're going to talk about that, but also network marketing, or MLM, multi-level marketing. You're top 10 in the world. Let's start here, because one of the things I like most about that is that you're top 10, but one of the people who are ranked ahead of you was Stefania Legato and Danian Fire, and they're on your team. So you actually signed them up, and now they're higher than you, which means you're an unbelievable leader. How does that happen? What's going on in the MLM world?
I mean, they're two talented people, and I give huge props to them. That's like my sister and brother right there. They're freaking two of the best people. She's from Portugal, actually, originally from Italy. He's from Germany. They both met on the team, got married. Now they live in Dubai. This amazing life in Dubai. Don't have to pay any taxes, by the way. So, I mean, when I'm spending hundreds of thousands a year in taxes, they don't have to, and they're buying Lamborghinis. It's crazy, bro. But I remember, when I started with them, they weren't top network marketers. They were learning the business. Daniel was just this young kid in his early 20s who just wanted to follow me because he heard about my success in my first company, becoming the youngest millionaire in my first 8 months in the business, And I just coached him up, and he never quit. He always was focused on learning and developing himself, and he just became that incredible leader. He's a world changer, man. He's awesome. People look up to him, and he's passed me up in this business. And what that does in my business, direct sales, network marketing, when someone passes you up that's on your team, it solidifies your income for the future. So that's all I wanted, man. That's the dream, actually.
So tell me about network marketing, because obviously, and we've heard this for the last 10 years, people get spooky by it. Oh, it's a pyramid scheme. It's this and that. I currently am not involved in a network marketing company, but you are. It's been the backbone of your success. You're great at it. There's so many good things that come from it. And I always, Terry and I always talk, like, if we were ever going to do something like that again, you would definitely be my first phone call, because of who you are, your character, your integrity, and also your success. Like, I don't want to sign up with someone that's doing it as a part-time thing. Like, you are full-time in this thing, but you didn't start that way. So tell me two things. Why network marketing, to debunk all the people that think it's a pyramid scheme or this and that, and how did you become so successful?
All right, cool. Well, the whole pyramid scheme thing, like, in a way, like, I think some people wish it were a pyramid, because then you don't have to work. You just sign up first and you reap all the benefits. I wish it were that easy. I remember my first company that I joined because my neighbor who signed me up knew where he wanted to go. He told me he wanted to be a millionaire a year from that point. He was going to be driving a brand new black Mercedes, and his wife would never have to work again. And I was like, I want that life, right? And I just followed him because he was like sure of himself. My distributor ID number in that company was 577833. I still remember it. That means I'm the 577,833rd person to join that company. If it were a pyramid, my chances of success are none, right? Come on, I climbed to the top 10 of that company within my first 2 years and never looked back. I mean, you have to build the business. A pyramid scheme is a money game. There's no product. Bernie Madoff. Like, come on, this is a direct sales company. There are many direct sales companies that are trading on the New York Stock Exchange, big time investors. I mean, come on, this is real life. You got to build a sales team. You got to motivate your team. You got to believe in the product, and you got to show the plan as much as you can, just like any other sales job, So I knew it wasn't a pyramid scheme. People use those excuses just to get themselves out of having to see the business. Everyone's a skeptic. But when you actually join the right team and you're around winners, people who are successful, and they teach you how to do the business, you'll realize very quickly it's an incredible business. It can change your life. If you can build a team and teach them how to start their own businesses and build their own teams, you can build a passive income. Everybody's using the product because they believe in it. The teams are growing even bigger. You're just earning residual passive income from that business because you grew that business, right? So it's incredible. But for me, so that kind of debunks everything else. You know, I always get involved in great companies with great products, with great ownership, with great track records. You know, that's how you know you're going to have a business that lasts forever. But for me, I didn't just grow up thinking I want to be a professional networker when I got older or joined a direct sales company. I love sales because sales jobs, there is no limit on your income. If you have a sales type of job, they show you a compensation plan. Go make as many sales as you can and make as much money as you can. I'm not getting paid hourly wages. I'm not capped on my income. Sales jobs are the best. It doesn't matter whether it's direct sales or any type of sales business, selling cars, selling life insurance, whatever it is. But when I joined network marketing, I didn't know what it was. A neighbor introduced himself to me and told me about a business he had started. It was in 2006 when the economy had crashed in the United States. Yep. I was a real estate and mortgage broker. I worked in real estate and mortgage banking.
I will say this. You were one of the top real estate and mortgage professionals in Southern California, and you were just in your 20s.
Yeah, I grew up super poor, and we'll talk about my story once you ask me about it later. But I'm just saying that when I was 23 years old, I made my first $1 million in real estate, and made $1 million plus every year after that until about 2006.
Eli? Come on, baby.
Yeah, that was before network marketing, and I've had a work ethic since I was 8 years old. So as long as I see people that are successful and I could see what they're doing to become successful, I'm just going to work 10 times harder than all of them, you know. And of course, you can make as much money as you want. You get out what you put in, but you gotta be productive, not just busy. You know, a lot of people are doing busy work, busy things. I'm trying to do income generating activities every day in my life. But I was a real estate person, you know, and I did really well in that business for about 4 years. And in 2006, when the market crashed, it didn't matter how good I was at real estate. If banks weren't lending money, you can't help anyone get anything done, and you aren't going to make any money. My neighbor introduced himself to me, told me about himself. He had moved in next door, and he told me, I asked him what he did for a living. You know how you have small talk with people you meet for the first time, and he told me that a friend of his who he hadn't seen in 12 years shared him a direct sales company, and he showed me the product in the company, and he said, so this is what I'm doing. And I thought, wow, that's what he does. It's not what I do. But he said, when I get time, I'll share it with you. He kind of like showed it to me and took it away. I didn't know what it was. And over the course of the next 3 weeks, he would share the product with me, let me try it out, and then he would invite me to a meeting that I made up every excuse to go to because I was skeptical and that wasn't my thing.
Did you blow him off at first and not go to the meetings? Because we've all done that. Like we've all been invited to the Tupperware party, the makeup party, whatever. And like, oh, it sounds good for you, but we don't go. But you finally went, and what happened?
Like, to tell you the truth, like the people that don't blow me off when I share with them my business, I get kind of scared about. Like the people that are too excited when you tell them what you do and you invite them to become a part of it, those are the people who really quit the quickest because they expect everyone else to be excited like they were. The people that blow you off and that are skeptical and it takes them a while to see it and then they join you, they understand the process. So they're not afraid of rejection. They know that's the process, you know? But so it took me 3 weeks to go to my first meeting finally, and he did it on his own. He just shared a 15-minute video with me and I joined, you know, and I didn't know what the heck to do in the business. I was brand new. And he just kept it simple for me. He just gave me the first few steps of what I needed to do. But at the end of the day, sales is just about sharing and showing the product, right? And then sharing the business. That's it. So share the product, show the plan. Share the product, show the plan. That's all I was setting up appointments to meet with people to show them this product and talk about this company and show the business plan and why I think they would be successful on my team. And the more I did it, the better I got. And I would just get people to believe in themselves and just say, do this thing with me. I'm running to the top with my neighbor and I don't want to leave you behind. And people just started joining. And of course, there are people that quit along the way. They don't want to put in the work, but all you need are a few that are serious, that are running with you, and you can change your life. And that's what happened to me my first year in network marketing.
And you're only at this point, what, 25, 26, 27, something like that?
Yeah, I was 26 years old when I became a millionaire in direct sales and network marketing. It was my first year. But I was still green to the business. I still had to learn. You know, there was still like obstacles I had to overcome on my way to really getting seasoned in the business. But I just never quit. Of course, there were days I got discouraged and I felt like just quitting sometimes. But I didn't quit, because I knew that there was that I knew that, you know, everything that I wanted out of this business was just ahead of me, just over all of those obstacles. I just had to go through more. I had to learn more, you know, and It was really all my failures that really helped me become the most successful. I learned nothing from my wins. I learned nothing from people who bought my product right away or joined my team right away. I learned everything from all the obstacles, all the hardest parts of my businesses taught me how to do it better and just to get better and better. And that's how I really developed leaders, because they watched me lead by example and they followed my lead.
So the one thing I admire about you, so this is, I met you in that company. My cousin, who was an 18-year-old female, not a lot of experience, not a lot of success in life, not for any other reason, just because she was young. I had my whole family member, because they'd always say, like, if we could just get Matt, we'll go all the way to the top, whatever, which was flattering at the time, because I was off American Idol and I was hosting TV shows and stuff. Yeah. It was my 18-year-old cousin who showed me her back office, and she was making 14 grand a week. Did you hear that, Eli? 14 grand a week.
Crazy. I remember her.
Yeah. Missy Turner. And that got my attention, because I wasn't making 14 grand a week. And I'm like, dude, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's where I saw Calvin. So money wise, I feel comfortable asking you this. You're my friend. In the last 12 years, first of all, the first thing I admire about you is that company got acquired by the company you're with now. So you've really only been with one company your entire career. And I watched when that whole thing went down, I watched everybody jump ship. I mean, everyone, myself included. I jumped ship. Yeah. Everyone jumped ship. And you were like the only one I can think of that stayed. And here we are in 2021. Yes, top 10 money earner, leader, and influencer in the world. Not America, not the region, not your city. Top 10 in the world. How has that staying power helped you become what you are today? I mean, obviously it was the right move to stay, right?
Yeah, it was the right move. I mean, even that guy, my neighbor, who's just enrolled me in the business, left, right? Like before year one was done, he was gone, you know, and I stayed. It was really hard to stay, by the way. It took a really supportive my wife Shannon, who really told me, like, to stay, you know, this is the company you got to be a part of, like, you know, and she has a strong faith in God, and she told me, you know, that that God wouldn't give you anything you can't handle, and your success is when He's ready to give it to you, you know. And I just believed in that wholeheartedly, and but really by me staying, I really created a long-lasting success, because I've never had a top leader on my team leave. Like, they never quit. They've been here the entire time too. So it's all about the example that you set for your people. Like, why would I quit? Calvin never quit. Look at all the adversity and struggles he ever had to go through, you know, ups and downs. And now look where he is. Look how much income he's making. Look at his level. Look at his influence. Look at how people look up to that guy. I want to be that guy. And people did that. And someone like Danny and Fire follows that example, going through all those ups and downs too. Now he passes me up, you know, like his life is amazing. And Stefania's life is amazing. And there are countless people who have that story. But you know, that staying power says something about you and your character, but it also tells your company that, like, man, this guy deserves everything, you know? So, like, I have a great relationship with the owners. I have a great relationship with the corporate team. I have a great relationship with people in my company that make the decisions. You know, they always, you know, want to look out for my best interests. You know, they want to help me and my team in succeeding and what we have going on, you know? So I'm just saying that, like, when you stay the course and you're faithful, the company's faithful and loyal back to you.
So let me ask you this. Why did you stay? Because I don't know the exact amount you were making, but I'm assuming you were making, right, let's just say 7 figures a year.
Yeah.
And it went away. Not totally, but it went drastically down. Why did you stay? And how far did it go down? What were you making? What did you make? And why did you stay?
I was making about $25,000 a week, and it went down to like $1,200 a week, you know, which is huge. Right. And that's when I met my wife, you know. And she stuck with me through all that, you know, which was obviously says a lot about her, you know. And like, you know, I remember I was like filing for bankruptcy and everything, you know, while I'm like this $1 million earner in this company.
Is this 2011?
This was 2000 and like probably 2008, you know, around that time. Okay. And because I joined in 2006, 2007, my upline left, my income just crashed right after I hit that milestone mark, you know. And I found myself at a crossroads. Do I leave and follow these guys, or do I just stay the course? And my wife was a big part of me staying, you know. And then I met some other mentors who weren't on my team, who'd been seasoned in the business for a lot longer than I was, 20 years. I've been in it for 2 years. And they're like, Calvin, this story you'll hear over and over again in your lifetime in this industry, people leaving for the next best thing, what they think is the next best thing. And he's like, hey, he named the company they all left for. And he's like, hey, mark my words, 1 year from now, you'll never hear this name again. And he was right. In 9 months, that company bankrupted itself.
I remember that. I watched that from a distance.
Yeah. And then I stayed the course, and what took me 8 months to build the first time took me 2 years to rebuild, but I rebuilt it stronger and better. I built myself back to that $1 million income earner. And then I never looked back after that, man. It's been 15 years now. I've never looked back and just kept climbing. But that really taught me something about myself. There's nothing too hard. If I could build it once, I can build it again. But once I build it again, I was like, I never have to go anywhere. No matter what happens, I can rebuild this thing over and over again. My neighbor can take my whole business from me, can take my whole team from me to follow him because they believe in him, and I can rebuild it again. Like no one can break me. And that's what I really learned through that process. And I've rebuilt my business like 4 or 5 times, and it's got bigger and stronger every time,
Are you still friends with your neighbor?
I wasn't for a while, but then I recently, we're acquaintances now. I wouldn't say friends, but we're acquaintances now. And we're not as good of friends as we were. I would say we're friends now, but we don't hang out or anything like that, but we have respect for each other, and I'm sure he's proud of what I've built, and I'm happy for him and his success and what he has now. We're both building amazing custom homes right now, and it's, we both are achieving the dream, but I'm glad I was able to show him that no matter what happens, look, I can rebuild and I never have to go anywhere. I'm still here. He's not anymore. So
I'm going to put a pin right there because I do want to go back to your story because it speaks volumes about why you would stay and who you are. Your story is absolutely amazing. So if you're at the point of the podcast right now, if you fast forward, whatever, this is the part you want to hear, which is what made me fall in love with Calvin, because your story is unbelievable. And I also say this is that I was in California about 3-4 months ago, and you walked me through the custom home that you were building. I put it all over my Instagram. Dude, your house is freaking sick. And he's like, and these cabinets are coming in from Mexico, and I'm having a door imported from Italy, and the custom stone is coming from Rome. And I'm like, dude, how does he do all this stuff? This is where you're at now. Take us back to the beginning. You grew up in NorCal, and you were, single mom, and you were not very wealthy. Start me from wherever you think you should start from.
It's always cliche when people have these rags to riches story, but I really have one, so I'm able to tell it, and I think people are inspired by those types of stories because it tells you that you don't have to come from anything. You don't have to have anything handed for you to have success. You can build it on your own as long as you believe in yourself and you go to work and you develop that, what I call the hustle muscle, which is called work ethic. Yeah. When I was little, I grew up. I grew up with my mom in Northern California. I have a good relationship with my dad today, but earlier in my life, my mom separated us. She separated herself from her whole family and moved us to Northern California, to the Bay Area. And right when we got off the Greyhound bus, we were about maybe 6 or 7 years old, and we went to the government building, got food stamps, applied for Section 8, got little what I don't know what you would call them, coupons to go stay at the Motel 6, and I remember we lived in Motel 6 for quite a while. We actually lived in the parking lot until a room was available there. We lived in our car, and I remember every night the police would knock on our window and say, you got to get these kids in a room, and eventually we got into the room, and we grew up in motels, eventually into government housing projects. We lived different apartment buildings, and every year we moved. We moved from house to house every year. We'd change schools, and we got kind of used to that. But my mom was always struggling, to keep a stable guy in the house that was worth anything. Usually we were on our own a lot. It was just me, my twin brother Brandon, and my younger sister Amber. And my mom was always struggling, crying. She was trying to keep a job, and take care of her kids. And when me and my brother were about 8 years old, we were like, forget it. We're going to go work, and we're going to go around the neighborhoods, and we're going to knock on doors and ask if we could do anything for them to earn money to bring home to our mom. And we would wash cars, we would mow lawns, we would do errands for them. We would help people carry their groceries to their car from the supermarket, and load up their car and do those things. And we would just earn money. I don't care if it was $1, $2, $5, $10. We'd take it back to our mom to help her keep the water hot or the lights on. Just help her with whatever. Help her not be mad that night. I'm just being honest with you,
Where did that come from? How old? Because it's not like, hey, this is what my father taught me. Your dad wasn't even there. Where does that come from? Did you and your brother say, hey, this is what we got to do for mom? Like, what happened?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe since we were little, we always had to do chores around the house, right? And we had a list of chores we would have to do every weekend for my mom. And we were like, dude, let's just go do this outside. Let's go do this for other people. What can we do for you? I guess that kind of started our work ethic. And we just started knocking on doors. And once you start knocking on doors, it's really hard at the beginning and you're kind of scared. But once people start saying, yes, have you washed the car? Do this, do that. Then it gets easier and you start knocking on more doors. And we would be out on the weekends when the morning started till it got dark at night. We heard our mom yelling our names to come home, and we'd make as much money as we could, and we'd keep a logbook of all of our clients, and they'd say come once a week or come twice a month, and we'd have it written down, and we'd show up on time, and we just started working, man, and we developed this work ethic, and we started just stretching it. When it was Christmas time, we'd climb all the dead oak trees in the city, in the town where we lived in Northern California. We'd cut down the mistletoe. We'd cut them into little bunches. We'd go to the local wedding or party favor store, buy a ribbon, wrap it around them, and we'd sell it for $1.50 outside the grocery store so we can earn money to buy Christmas presents for our family. We'd have our little sister Amber out there. We'd be like, okay, you have to be shivering the entire time. You have to act cold, like you're freezing, because they're going to want to buy all our mistletoe so we can get our little sister home because she's cold, They'd be like, you guys need to get her home quick. And then they bring her hot chocolate and do all these things. And they just give us $10-$20 to just go home and buy all of it from us. And we'd do that every day. And this carried to as we got older. My mom always told me and my brother that we'd be the first ones in our family to go to college and get them out of the situation we were in. And we believed it. So as we got older, we were like, well, we can't go to the high schools where we live because these are shit high schools. We need to go to a good high school that colleges take the academic program seriously, and we score high on our test scores. So we need someone that's going to teach us the right way.
You knew that at a young age, or your mom told you that?
No, we knew that at a young age. I don't know how we figured that out, but we wanted to go to college. We started just researching schools and doing these things. When we were in 8th grade, we were in 8th grade. There's this kid who was like, I'm going to the school. It's called De La Salle High School, in Concord, California. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to school De La Salle. It's a private high school. We were like, what's that? And he's like, it's just a really good school, and we were like, we want to go to that school. What's that school? And we found it, saw it in the newspaper. They're giving placement exams, and it was a private high school. They had one of the top football teams in the country and all this really cool stuff. And so my brother and I, being these poor kids, we went and took the test one weekend and we passed it. And now the next obstacle is how are we going to pay for it? Because it was $8 or $9 grand a year for each of us to go there, and we couldn't afford that. Dude, who can afford that really when your mom doesn't even make that in a year, right. Let alone try to keep a job all year. So my brother and I, we got accepted in that school. It was literally 2 hours to get to school because we didn't have a car. So we had to take the buses to the BART train and do all the little transfer stops and take bus to bus to bus and then get to school. 2 hours, okay? We had the schedule down, and then we had to get jobs in Concord, California to pay for our school. So we got our work permits at 15 years old that summer. We applied at every freaking place you can think of that was hiring, okay? And then we got accepted at a few jobs. And we didn't let them know that we were accepted by 3 jobs and we were going to work 3 jobs a day. We just accepted all of them. We planned out our schedule. In the morning, we'd leave our home when it was still dark in the morning. We'd get to Concord at around 6 in the morning. We were janitors in the morning at a collection agency, an office building. And then we'd go to school, do our homework in the library, in the quad during all the breaks, on the buses at night when we were going home. But we'd go to school, go to sports practice because we played football, we ran track, I wrestled, we played baseball. Okay, so we did all that stuff. And then after that, we'd run to Exxon gas station where we were the shop boys, and we cleaned up after all the mechanics in the shop where they worked on the cars, cleaned all the oil, we cleaned it all down, cleaned all their tools, cleaned everything up. We fixed flat tires, we plugged flat tires, helped change oils, helped pump gas at the full service section in front of the Exxon. When we were done, we closed the bay doors, lock it up. We'd run across that same parking lot to Applebee's for 3 hours where we were a host. Okay, and we worked at Applebee's. 11 o'clock at night, our night would be done. We'd run to the bus station to catch the last train home. Okay. And then if we'd miss it, we always hid a key at the gas station. We'd sleep in the gas station bathroom. Okay. If we missed the bus or the train. And
so would you have to use a payphone? Would you have to use a payphone to call
up?
Your mom? Would you have to call your mom and say, hey mom, we're not going to make it home tonight. We're sleeping in a gas station?
No, it was we didn't grow up that way. My mom just knew we were good. I don't know if she figured it out. It's weird, just how we grew up, and that was our normal. But no, we didn't have to call our mom at all. She knew we were good. She probably would just think we spent the night at a friend's house that night or something, So it was like we were forced to really grow up, as kids, and that it really helped us later in life. If you think about it, I know that most people would feel sorry, like who would want their kids to live that way? Dude, look where I am now. I developed a work ethic at 8 years old when most people have developed it at 18 years old or 28 years old, and they finally move out of their house. Like, dude, like I've already had 10, 20 years experience by the time I moved out of my house in the real world. So when we ended up graduating from that high school, De La Salle. We got full ride scholarships to go to.
I wanted to say this too, for people that don't know about De La Salle, in basically all through the 90s and early 2000s, they're known as the Streak. Y'all won, what was it, 153 games in a row without losing? How many? What was the streak?
It was 178 games in a row without losing. We were national champions. We were on the cover of Team Cheerios, all that stuff, man. So
you never lost a football game in high school?
And never, from freshman year all the way through, I've never experienced a loss. It's crazy. Just blowing out teams. Awesome. I remember our senior year, all the teams in our league chose at the beginning of the year when all the coaches are meeting to set up the schedule. All of them agreed to forfeit against De La Salle because they don't want to. They're going to lose anyways, and they don't want to risk their top guys getting hurt during that game. So they forfeited us our senior year. So we're automatically birthed. The North Coast Section Championship game to get to state championships. So we're automatically in that.
Can you imagine being so intimidating to other people that they forfeit before they even fight you? And then, so talk to me about your size. So when you played high school, what was your height and weight?
Dude, I was probably 6 foot. I'm 6'1" now, but I mean, maybe 6 foot around that area. And my weight was only dude, we were small, our team. And we were
right, that's
good.
what I was
getting. I was
100
and I was probably 160,
So
155.
6 foot 160, and this was what De La Salle was known for is, dude, they don't have the biggest guys in the world. They don't have these blue chip guys, but they are going to outwork and out leverage. I've never seen an offense, because I'm an ex-football guy. I'm an offensive lineman, and I was, 6'5", 340. But these guys, De La Salle, the Spartans, they would fire off the ball faster than anyone, and they would get underneath you. And it was all about leverage. And that, dude, you guys are unbelievable. All right, so, and this is why, listening to his story, if you go to Calvin's website, calvinbecerra.com, Becerra, calvinbecerra.com, right on the cover, his quote, it says, "All I know is the hustle." I freaking love it. All right, keep going. So you got a scholarship, you and your brother?
Yeah, we ran track and field. We were track stars. I wrestled as well, and I was a top athlete on the wrestling mat. And obviously we were a national championship football team. So we got full ride scholarships for academics as well, because we scored high on our PSATs, which you take your junior year. So we got presidential scholarships to all the top universities, which were $30,000 to $60,000 scholarships per year.
Yeah, I got an 860 on that. What'd you get?
I think I got maybe high 1300s, Yeah, De La Salle was good academically too. They prepared us, for the SATs. My PSAT, I think I scored 1280, but then the ran SAT is high 1300s. But the PSAT before the SAT got me a full ride scholarship. I'm Hispanic, so I have that working in my favor when it comes to high test scores for Hispanics. So I received big scholarships because of that academically as well. So that helped us. But that paid for our college. So in essence, we didn't have to work through college, but we did. Why? Because we were so used to working. If we didn't work, we would feel unproductive. Wow. So we worked all through college while we were going to school and playing sports. I'm telling you, I worked at Hollywood Video, wearing a popcorn vest and a little bow tie. I passed out cereal coupons on the weekend wearing Tony the Tiger, the big old Tony the Tiger costumes. I would pass out Herbal Essences shampoo packets on the weekends. Wow. I worked at the Census Bureau. I picked up at dog shows on the weekends. I valet parked cars. I worked my ass off all through college. And what did that do for me? It told my friends, damn, these two guys, these twins, these guys work hard. They're working all weekends. Our parents are giving us money to spend in college. These guys are working. And they would let us work for their parents' companies, and they would just talk us up. And because we worked so hard, we started getting offered better jobs and better jobs. And we started just climbing the ladder. And then we graduated college at the top of our class, cum laude. And then we both went into business, and I went and got involved in real estate and mortgage banking after college. I knew nothing about it. I just was people here make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money. Teach me what to do. And the owner of this company in Irvine, California, First Lincoln Capital, They gave me a desk with no leads, and they're like, we're not going to give you any leads, so you got to bring them in yourself and bring in your own business. I was like, that's fine. All I did was sit at that desk every day for like 8 to 10 hours and listen to all the people on the phones, all the people with experience older than me, how they handled objections, how they talked to their clients, how they lost deals and got them back. And I learned all day long. And after a couple months, I started applying myself in the real world and started bringing in deals. By the end of my first year, I was the top producer in that office with no leads. They gave me my own office. My second year, I made like $500,000. My first year, I made like 110 grand. And then my third year, I started my own company and made 1.6 million, and then just kept climbing after that. And then in 2006,
Eli, what are we doing? We gotta freaking step our game up.
We're in the wrong business,
bro. No, you could put Calvin in mortgage. You could put Calvin in, oh, you're gonna be an actor tomorrow. It don't matter. You take someone like Calvin Becerra, you put him in any avenue, and not only will he eventually win, but when he sits down, he's going to say, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to be better than everyone. When you were sitting at that desk, no leads, didn't you know that you were going to be the top dog there? You knew it, right?
I knew it. So when I first got there, I remember I had a conversation in the elevator on my first day with the owner, and he's like, hey, Calvin. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, how much money do you want to make? And I was like, I want to make $100,000 a year, because since I was little, that was rich, $100,000 a year, you know? Mm-hmm. And he was like, he looked at me and he was like, that's it? And once he said those words, I was like, I'm going to be rich. Like, if he thinks that's nothing, you know, I swear. So that first day I knew it. And when I sat at that desk, I was just like, I was a sponge. I was absorbing all the information. I was downloading everything so I could go put it to work, you know? So I knew it was only a matter of time before I broke out. You know, and I just went out and I started bringing in all the deals every day, and the guys would help me put them together. And then at the end of the first year, I negotiated a higher split with my commissions, and they gave me my own office. In the third year, they're like, we know you're going to go off on your own now. You ain't going to keep giving us free money. And I was like, hey, thanks for teaching me everything. And I went off on my own, and then I started my own company and just blew it up, you know?
Let me ask you this. How old were you when you made your first $1 million in one 12-month span? How old were you?
23.
Oh my.
Yep, 23 years old.
23, you 23, made a mill.
And I blew it all, bro. I blew it all because I was only 23. I was the guy with the table on the dance floor at Sutra nightclub, and all my friends were hanging around me just to get the free stuff, you know. I was blowing it all. I wasn't saving my money at all. I spent a lot of my money on real estate, buying houses at the top of the market because I didn't understand the market at all, you know. So I lost everything in 2006. So that first experience of me making millions was practice for my next millions that I made in network marketing, you know?
Let me ask you this. Through all the downfalls, you know, growing up without a dad, sounds like your mom supported you, but she definitely didn't, you know, keep tabs on you. Yeah. And you're hustling, you're picking up dog crap, you're shoveling oil from a gas station, you're dressing up as Tony the Tiger. And then you fast forward, you know, you start this multi-million-dollar business in network marketing, and it gets jacked from you. Out of all that, what was the lowest point of your life? And do you ever get depressed? Did you ever get down? Did you ever feel sorry? Like, I'm going to quit? Like, did you ever feel that?
Yeah, I mean, that first experience I had, you know, when all you guys, you talk about jumping ship, you know, when everybody was jumping ship, like I was like, man, my whole team's gone. They just followed my neighbor to this next company. I'm on my own, you know? And like I said, I'm lucky to have people around me. Like, I didn't grow up with my dad, but my dad was in my life since I started college in a really good way, like a dad should be. And so if it wasn't for my dad and my wife that I had just met at that time, then I probably would have left, you know, but I had people in my corner just telling me to believe in myself. My dad taught me a lot about The Secret, you know, and the law of positive thinking and the law of attraction. And, you know, that like, it was a season of my life where, you know, I was just pruning. They're getting rid of all the people that don't need me in my life to get me ready for the comeback, you know, and my wife just helped me put my faith in God. And that got me through everything. So that was my lowest point. But once I was able to overcome that, it took me 2 years to get out of that thing, to get out of that funk, to rebuild my business back. But after that, I realized I can do anything. Like, nothing can break me from that point. I expected challenge. I expected success, but I always expect obstacles and adversities in the way, no matter what. Even from today moving on, I know that I'm going to have to face many more challenges, but I'm used to it now. I'm prepared now, you know? It's part of the process.
Was it at that low point where you met she was your girlfriend at the time, Shannon? Was it at that low point, her point of view? Is that when you fell in love with her and you said, this is going to be my wife?
Yeah, just because, she'd already been a mom. She'd had 2 kids. I knew that she'd be a good wife because of the way she was a mom, and I wanted kids one day. And I was like, that's the one I'd want for the mother of my children. Just her faith in God. I mean, the first gift she ever bought me was a Bible. I mean, and that says a lot about a girl, and that was probably a risk on her part to do that. Maybe that probably would have scared a guy away in his early 20s, right? But for me, it told me a lot about this woman. I'm like, she's going to be my wife one day,
How important is God to you now? Because you're almost 40, right? You're almost 40.
Yeah.
How important is God in your life?
I know that He directs my steps, but I see it in my kids. The way that they love God, and they go to really good schools, and they always were praying at night. And I just think it's a big part of our mindset is being able to believe in something, have faith in something or someone. That could kind of take those fears away and just let you know that, hey, everyone has their own journey in life. You just have to go through it. Like, enjoy the process, respect the journey. It was built specifically for you, So, but yeah, no, faith is a very important part of my life. And it started in high school when I went to that school, De La Salle. It was a private high school. We prayed every morning, and we went to chapel every week. And that was really where the foundation started in my life,
You talked about too earlier on in the podcast of when the business fell apart and, everybody jumped ship. I remember leaders, your best friends and your best friends' friends left and went somewhere else. Who was your mentor, and who's your mentor today? Who's that one person that you can say really helped you level up or elevated you? Like, that's my guy or that's my girl. Like, who is that mentor for you that you still glean from?
Man, today I have many mentors. I don't even know they're my mentors. When I look at Brad Lee on Instagram, I always watch him all the time. I look at Grant Cardone. There's Eric Worre in our industry. He's been a mentor to so many, and he's taught me a lot of things in my business. But at that point in my life, it was Randy Schrader, really good guy that had a lot of experience in the industry, and he taught me a lot of principles about network marketing. He taught me about the idea of learn, develop, and become, and to teach everyone those stages in life to success. Like, success isn't going to be handed to you, and it's not going to happen overnight. You have to focus on learning first, learning, and then applying everything you learn and developing yourself. And then eventually you become successful, and just teaching people that everybody has their time. But Randy Schrader was a big part of influence in my life. But today, as I've really outgrown who I was in my early 20s or my mid 20s, I just keep looking to a lot of new influencers, that I can learn from and really get inspiration from. Like I said, Brad Lee and Grant Cardone and those types of guys, even Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, just guys, but just a lot of people. And also I just make sure that the people that I surround myself with are people who want to be more successful than they are now. Someone like you, my twin brother, Brandon, my one of my best friends, Wayne Willette. There's a lot of, Danian Fires, Stefan Delegato. Like, I keep my circle small, but I only want to surround myself with people who want more in their life, who want to go farther, even though that they've achieved so much. Like there's another level, once you get there, there's always another level. So just even my friends around me influence me all the time. We're always pushing each other, which is pretty cool.
How important is it to, obviously you surround yourself with the right people. How important is it for you to identify the wrong people, the wrong mindsets, and kick those out of your life and shelter your mind, your family, your friends, your business from those people infiltrating? Because now, they see you. Everyone wants to be around you. Have you seen the house he's building? Have you seen his beautiful family? Top in the world. Like, how do you determine who are the cancers or the weasels that need to come out versus the people you want to be around?
It only takes one time to show you someone's true character. One time they do you wrong. One time they lie to you. One time they take advantage of you. One time you catch them doing something, maybe not directly from them, but through someone else, you hear about it. Then really, I'm too old to I'm not too old, obviously. I'll be 40, in March. But I'm just saying that, I've already wasted enough time on people that didn't do me good. Toxic people. I've given people enough chances. I'm just saying now I need to really keep my circle tight and if I want to grow to another level in my life, I need to really be careful about that. And so, when I lose trust in people, when they do me wrong, when they lie to me, when they're taking advantage of me, when they have ulterior motives, and I need to slowly distance myself from those people. I don't publicly shame them, or I don't just make them feel bad to their face. It's just I won't return the call. I won't return the text. I can't do it, and they know what they did wrong, unless they came and apologized or really were, showed me they're making a real change in their life, I could really, bring them back into my circle. But it's really important that I eliminate those people. Every year, I'm always looking to prune the tree, like to keep the fruit and get rid of the dead weight, cut the fat from my life, I call it,
Yeah, but the one thing that you've really been good at, and you can tell just on social media, you can tell who the bitter people are versus the stable people. And I know, I mean, with any successful person or business, the more successful you are, the more no's, heartaches, and failures that you've had. We all know that. But one thing I appreciate about you that I've really incorporated in my life is you know how to weed people out, but you also know how to forgive people. Like we're talking about, even your neighbor, and you say, yeah, I still talk to him this day. Like we're not as tight as we used to be, but you don't hate the guy. Like how important is forgiveness for those people who do?
Yeah, I never have hate on people, but there are people who don't change, So I don't like publicly shame them. Like I said, I don't like, if I saw them and they, were at a party at my brother's home, a barbecue or something, I would still talk to them and be nice to them and those types. But I'll never like shame people. I'll never just cut people out of my life. But obviously, like, yeah, I can always forgive people. I think time heals everything. That's the reality of it, But it's just I can't have them in my direct line of contact if they're going to be like this, But if I can just separate them from myself, of course, I'll always forgive everybody. I think time heals everything. If I can let a month go by or maybe a couple of years go by, I can maybe allow them back in, But yeah, I never shame people. I'm always forgiving. I'm very forgiving. People know I don't burn any bridges. Like
Right.
Everybody is my friend, enemies or, close people. I'm just saying that you're right. Forgiveness is a very important part of my life. Like I'll never not forgive anybody. It's just, we gotta have that conversation,
Have you, I don't know why I'm asking this, but it's on my heart. So I'll ask you, thinking about growing up without your dad, and now you are very open that you've allowed him back in your life, and you love him, you learn from him. Have you had, and your life's a testimony to that, because you've had these people that have done you wrong at some point, but you still love them, you still forgive. And I think that plays into success when you can move forward with a clean heart, a clean mind, not harbor any bitterness or anger. It allows, the supernatural realm, if you say, or God, it allows God to bless you even more when you're not, hating on the people who have done you wrong, right? Have you ever had, and you don't have to name names, but I'm just curious, have you ever had those people that did you wrong at some point, whether it's a family member, business partner, relationship, come back and just, I was wrong, I am so sorry? Have you had that encounter with people that they've really apologized?
I swear, not really. I'm just being honest with you. I wish I did, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's just pride, people's pride. Like there are people that I surround myself with now, ex-business partners, just people who've done me wrong. And like, I feel like some people just are too prideful to apologize, but it's kind of like I'm apologizing for them. I don't know about by forgiving them. And they know, I think in their heart that they did me wrong, but I'm still willing to forgive them, and I think they appreciate that more, and they'll do certain things for me. Like they'll give me gifts, or they'll do something for me, or send me like a letter, or let me know that they're thinking about me. Like it's kind of their way of just saying, hey man, thank you for forgiving me. I just wanted to send this quick note to you, like it's like a unsaid, I guess, type of apology, but I've never had someone like really do that to me,
No, and the reason I brought that up is it's so important. Like you just heard Calvin, one of the most successful people on the planet, say that he doesn't need the big I'm sorry. Yeah, it's nice when you hear it or if you hear it, but he's moving forward and he's forgiving regardless of what they do. And I just think that shows a lot about your character. And again, it's a testimony to a lot of your success. You won in real estate, you've won in network marketing and continue to win. But one thing I always ask you about that I know very little about, but I'm growing, is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. You've been on, you were ahead of the curve. You were ahead of the wave. What's going on in that business, and why do people need to pay attention? What's happening?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been looking to invest, after I blew all my money when I made a lot of money in my earlier years,
Right.
Now I have a family, I have their futures I have to think about. So investing, it didn't start with cryptocurrency. It started with obviously having good life insurance policies for my family, opening up, SEP IRAs, Roth IRAs, whatever, to start those small little investment accounts every year, then getting involved in the stock market. and really learning how to what to invest my money in. I had to, like, for me, how did I learn how to invest in stocks and these things? I had to lose a lot of money in order to learn how to do it right, you know? So that was my tuition for learning how to make money in the stock market, was losing it first. Okay. But then also cryptocurrency. There came a time in my life where I was like, I got to diversify. I bought like silver. I bought gold. I had my money in retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, 401ks. I had life insurance policies, you know? And then I was like, what else can I invest in? And then crypto. I remember someone talked about Bitcoin. I'm like, how do you buy Bitcoin? I Googled it one day, and then it was like download Coinbase, you know? And so I downloaded that. And then there were like 2 coins on there that you can buy. I'm like, what is this stuff? Like Ethereum and like Bitcoin. I see that, you know? Bitcoin was about like $800 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember like, so I bought like,
Bitcoin was $800.
I remember I bought like 20 grand worth real quick, you know, and I was like, okay, cool. Here's a good investment, 20,000. Hopefully it'll turn into 30 for me in like 10 years. Hopefully I can get a just 5% return on it. Like, I didn't know it would give me thousands of percents return, you know, like crazy.
Just so everyone knows, at the beginning of 2021, Bitcoin was over $30,000, right?
Yeah. I think right now, last night it was like 37. Yeah. Just last night, you know, Ethereum
he bought it for $800. Oh my gosh. So what are you seeing? Like, I ask you all the time.
Dude, I bought Ethereum real quick. I bought Ethereum at $9, by the way. Okay. So I bought a bunch of those, like 900 of those. And then that ended up like turning into millions, which is crazy, right? So think about 900 times $9, 81. What I do, spend like $8,100 or something maybe, you know, and like turn into millions, like crazy stuff. Okay. But I didn't know anything about it. Now I know a lot about it all, you know, and there's all these other types of cryptos, which I call coins. And I wouldn't waste my money on, you know, but they're pump and dump coins. Some of them are scams, but you named it at the beginning, the 3 horsemen: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. That's all I touch. That's it. I'll never lose on that. I'm safe. You know, I can sleep well at night.
It's very volatile though, man. It goes up and down very quickly.
Yeah.
How do you weather the storm, and do you freak out?
Well, because I'm not a trader. I'm not a day trader. I'm not trying to get in and get out, get in and get out. I have a long-term vision. So it doesn't matter how volatile it is. The long-term play always wins. Doesn't matter. It'll always be like boom, boom, but it'll just get all the way to where you need it. And it's still doing this up here, but you got it. Now you have it up here. I'm long-term. So these guys are like, whoa, the sky is falling. Bitcoin's going to crash. What do I care? My cash out is 5 years from now when it's 400 grand, when it's 500 grand a coin. Like, I don't give a crap. I see the technology will advance. I see the names behind it. I see big institutional investors putting their money in Bitcoin, propping the price up now, spending $500 million, $1 billion, market strategy CEO, Elon Musk talking about Bitcoin all the time now. Come on now, that's big money. Now there's real money in Bitcoin, right? I'm not talking about all the other coins. Like, that's a long-term play. That's, you know, you have companies, JP Morgan and Chase and them, you know, talking about how it'll be, you know, $120,000 this year, $400,000, you know, in the next couple of years. Like, dude, I'll buy it right now at 37. If I know that it could potentially go there, or even go halfway there. I'm long-term. It could be volatile. I want it to be volatile. The only way it's going to get up here is if it's volatile. It can't be some slow-moving, you know, asset.
So you bought your first one at $800. Let's just say today it's around $38,000. You're still buying?
I'm still buying. I buy at least once a week, but I would say on average like 2 or 3 times a week. I don't care if it's 500 here, 1,000 there. You know, if I can get $5 grand here, I don't care if it's $300. Like, it's really not about the price of it anymore. It's about the return on that investment now. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have enough money to buy Bitcoin. You could be just a regular person. You could buy as much of Bitcoin as you want. You could buy 2% of a Bitcoin, 0.5%. I could buy $500 worth of Bitcoin today. I don't care that the price of the Bitcoin. I just know that when it doubles, my $500 doubled. I'm getting 100% return on my investment. Like, there's nothing else I can invest in today that can give me that return. People are putting money in the stock market, in savings account, money market accounts to get 2.5%, 5%. Like, I'll put $500 in Bitcoin so I can get a 40% return in 2 months. Like, dude, it's a no-brainer.
So that's
Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin.
When people are doing stock market stuff like that, savings account, is that just stupid to you? Like, is that just dumb?
It is, because the more money we print, the more bad that's going on here in our economy, the more we're bailing people out, which is okay because people need help right now. The lower the dollar value is. You know, the more we print, the more expensive things are going to get. You know, inflation is crazy. Which gives more value to Bitcoin because it's scarce. It's more scarce than gold. There's only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be created, and you could break that into pieces. But Imagine, man, there are more millionaires than there are Bitcoins by tons. There's not even enough Bitcoins for each millionaire to have one. There's like 200. How many billionaires are there on the planet? Like, I forget, like 260 million millionaires or something like that.
They're only printing 21 million Bitcoins.
Yeah, there's only that'll ever be mined, which are created online. There are only 21 million Bitcoins ever in existence. That's the supply. Now it can be divided amongst that. You can get portions of it, but imagine, like, any successful, wealthy person wants an entire Bitcoin. I just want to have a Bitcoin, right? There's not even enough for every millionaire on the planet to have one, let alone every normal person. I'm just saying people who make less. So imagine one day over the next couple of years, they're going to be like, hundreds of millions of people fighting over a few million Bitcoin. Imagine how high the price of Bitcoin is going to be at that point. Right now you're still early. $38,000 sounds like the price of a freaking car. Okay. But you're way early in the institutional investors just started investing two or 3 months ago. It's been 10 years since Bitcoin was created. None of them ever put their money in. It was just regular people.
I remember talking to you about this 5 years ago when you told me to get in, and you said, dude, I'm pretty sure these big financial institutions are going to start investing. And now we're here.
So there are ETFs and everything. I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't give any financial advice. This is just all my speculation. So don't take my word for it. But I can only tell you my results so far, and they've been incredible, right? So, but yeah, we're here. ETFs are being made with Ethereum. I mean, come on. If you don't want to buy Bitcoin and you trust the stock market more, good. GBTC, Greystone Bitcoin Trust Company, they take their investors' money and just buy 100% Bitcoin with it. You could put it in there. GBTC, Ethereum also has Greystone Ethereum, ticker symbol on there. I mean, there are different ways to buy Bitcoin. You can buy it from your PayPal. You can buy it now. Imagine that. You couldn't do that last year or the year before. PayPal's bought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cryptos that you can buy from your PayPal account. It says buy cryptocurrency. Imagine that. Like, the world is changing. When PayPal now, you can buy it through your PayPal. Now it's real. Now it's getting real, right? And you're still at the beginning. Like, dude, that's it. It's incredible.
And you say, like, oh, I'm not a financial advisor, don't take my advice. But one of my favorite mentors of all time, Miles Monroe, said, You don't measure a leader by the medals on his chest. You measure a leader by the scars on their back. And Calvin's got some scars because he's been at the bottom. He's overcome and come to the top. So, and in the last 10 years I've known you, hey man, you've never really, you've taken some on the chin, but I've never seen you knocked out. So I am going to take your advice. And that's why I do call you and ask you, because I trust what you say, and I know that you're backing up. Let me ask you this before we let you go, because we don't have a lot of time. If Calvin Becerra, back in 2004, but you know what you know now, so you're back at 20 years old, let's just say, you don't have a lot of money, but you have the knowledge that you have now, what would you do right now?
Man,
how would you get successful again if everything was taken away, but you still have your knowledge?
Yeah, I would invest more. I didn't do that enough early on. I just started really investing like in my mid 30s, and I'm almost 40. So not really that long, since I started investing. I would invest more. I wouldn't save more. Like you said, what's money in the bank? It's nothing. It's like you're losing money by having it in the bank. I did all that, I would invest more. I would invest more of my money, but I would also invest more into myself, personal development, personal growth. But I would take all the knowledge I have and I'd probably monetize that with people. I'd want to share more with people, tell more to people, coach more people, not just people in my network marketing business, but like people in general, that it's like what I do now. I wish I would have done that earlier. Like I know I'm a top network marketing professional, speaking on stages around the world, sharing my story that I shared with you today. But like also right now, I'm doing a lot of coaching, one-on-one coaching with successful business people, with people who want to be successful in business. I'm helping consult with $1 million companies, helping them hit the $1 billion mark, helping them hit the tens or hundreds of millions of dollars marks. Like I'd want to share more of what I know rather than just keep it for my teams. I'd want to spread the wealth, spread the knowledge with more people. We didn't have podcasts back then. We didn't have Zooms back then. When I was that young. Now I'm able to share my message with the world from my living room, which is pretty cool. But I'd probably definitely invest more of my income rather than save it, but I'd also share more of my knowledge and wealth with more people rather than just my own team within my business, which is what I'm doing now, but I wish I would have done it before.
How important is social media to people that want to expand their business?
And it's everything. It's your brand. Like everything is social media today. Every single person you know, whether they're super young or super old, has a smartphone in their hands. They're inside their homes, especially today. I mean, everybody's in front of their homes or in front of their phones or their computers looking at everyone else's life all day long. Social media, that's how you build your brand. That's how you grow your audience. But really, it's really an art. Social media is an art. It's in the value-driven content you post on your social media. It's not just talking about you walking your dog today or you stubbing your toe today and showing pictures of your bloody toenail. And like, it's not any of that garbage stuff, you know? It's what value-driven content can I feed to the audience I want to attract, right? Like, what do they enjoy? What are their interests? You know, more than just your business or what you're selling, what do they enjoy looking at and watching? What makes them stop when they're scrolling down? Like, what kind of value can you give people outside of what you're selling or what you're doing that's going to attract them to follow you, like your stuff, share your content, and then stumble across what it is you're selling, stumble across your podcast. Like, you got to figure out who your tribe is first, find out what their interests are, what they like the most, and then feed them value-driven content around those things. And then in between that value-driven content, drop your podcast, drop your promotions, drop this, drop what you're selling, and they're going to stumble across that. But at that point, they already know, like, and trust you. They're going to want to buy what you're selling. They're going to want to jump on what you're doing. That's it. But social media is an art. So it's not just like creating a handle, throwing your pictures on there, sharing your day. It's feeding value-driven content that's going to attract an audience, that's going to grow your brand, and what's going to eventually lead to your success. But social media is everything. You know, social media is everything. And it's really, it just takes practice. But once you get it down, like, the sky's the limit. You know, you can grow your audience as big and as far as you want.
Last two questions before I let you go. First question is, what is one either book, podcast, follow on social media? What's the one thing that you would say to people that want to expand? What would they read? Who should they follow? One thing.
I would say one of the books, there's a few books that I'm reading right now. I wish I could freaking show them to you guys right now, but my wife moves everything around.
Hey, that's a beautiful Restoration Hardware lamp in your background. Chandelier. Gorgeous.
Right? So, but I would say a really good book is As a Man Thinketh. That's a really good book that I think people should read. Also, what else? You know, John Maxwell's Leadership Principles is a really good book. I don't want to bore people with books, but I mean, like, podcasts are the way of today. You know, podcasts. There are tons of podcasts that you can tune into. We talked about crypto, right? The Pomp, Anthony Pompliano. He's awesome, a crypto guy that I follow. He has a really cool podcast. Obviously, the Level Up podcast.
There you go.
Like I said, your lineup is incredible, man. The people that you tell me are coming onto your podcast in the future, like, I can't wait to listen to those myself and to share that around. So that's awesome right there. But it's just like, you know, Brad Lee on Instagram. I love that guy because he's so real, and he makes me want to listen to him, makes me laugh, like he speaks my language, and I want to share that with people, but he gets down to it. He's successful.
I like Brad Lee.
The real Brad Lee.
Hey, Brad Lee's coming on Level Up, brother. So you're going to drop before he does.
Dude, come on. See, you got everybody. That's what I'm saying, dude. So anyways, obviously, you know, following Matt Rogers, just following you, being your friend, man, like, just getting me on this podcast, but also just in me knowing that those guys are in your circle, those guys are willing to jump on your podcast, says a lot about who you are. So anyways, you know, just big word of advice is just be careful who you have in your circle, and build your circle. You know, build your circle with 5 key people that are in it, that are always feeding you, and that you guys are working off of to keep going to the next level.
There you go. Calvin Becerra, my friends. You can follow him on Instagram, Calvin Becerra, Becerra. And of course, his website, calvinbecerra.com. Give people one level up quote. Leave them with one level up quote. What would you have people level up on?
Okay, one level up quote that I would want to leave people with. Man, what's one good quote?
You know, what's the first one that came to your mind?
I know, I'm just trying to think real quick. I want to think of something that has to do with what we're talking about today. You know, I would just say maybe success is a mountain, you know, success is a mountain. Okay. And what that means is, and that's what I always teach to my most successful leaders in my business, is that, you know, and I want to talk about this for a second. Success is a mountain. That's the quote, first of all. Okay. Whenever you think of any type of mountain climber that's trying to climb Mount Everest, or they're trying to climb the Himalayas, or trying to climb any mountain that's going to give them any significance in their life or any influence to be able to speak on stages around the world, that mountain climber was prepared for every step of that mountain. He didn't just think, I'm going to start today, I'm going to end up at the top tomorrow. He knows there are obstacles along the way. He knows there are challenges along the way. He's prepared. He has a 150-pound sack on his back with tools to help him climb up that mountain. He knows that there will be crevasses he'll have to climb, that he's going to have to pull out the oxygen tanks once he gets towards the top and the oxygen levels are depleted. He knows about all of the crazy extreme weather conditions that he's going to undergo on the way to the top of the mountain, but all he wants is success. There's no one in life that ever should expect success, but be thinking that they're going to avoid all the challenges and obstacles along the way. Like, success is a mountain. Expect success, but also expect the challenges and adversities that are on the way to the top of the mountain.
There it is. Success is a mountain. Calvin Becerra, I love you, man. Thank you for being such a great friend and mentor. Appreciate you, man. I really love the fact that I could call you and you're there for me, man. I love you, brother.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. It was a fun time. Hopefully people got some good nuggets from this podcast, and they're going to be willing to share with people they know. I appreciate you, Matt.
I'm sure they did. I appreciate you. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Calvin Becerra, and this has been another edition of Level Up.